What's up? What's happening? George Balekji here with Kasey Hudson. Case, what's up?
That's all I got for you. And exhale. It's been quite the weekend, the past couple of days, but all good things because it's just been one big sporting thing after another big sporting thing after another big sporting thing. So all good positives. I got to hang out with you guys for opening day just, 48 hours ago?
Your first time at Fenway. I know it was a good time. We had good weather. It's been raining in Boston since, which that's New England.
I'm glad that wasn't the case that day. So.
Oh my gosh. Yes. Everyone's happy about that one. Hey, we got a packed episode for you guys on Foxborough Rush. New reports coming out about Joe Milton. In fact, the Cowboys were the only offer the Patriots got, but also it was a situation where Joe Milton had to be out of town. He could not stay in the Patriots locker room. That's the latest from MassLive. We'll get into those details. And also, left tackle changes happening with the Miami Dolphins. And we know with any team looking for a left tackle, that affects the Patriots and their draft outlook exactly. So we'll take a look at how the Dolphins draft could affect the Patriots draft. And then Athan and I, our producer, Athan, we're having him hop on for the mock. We're doing mock draft 4.0, full 7 rounds for the Patriots. But let's start with the Joe Milton reports. So as we go back to last week, everyone knows Joe Milton, a previous 6th round pick, along with a current 7th, was traded to the Cowboys for a 5th round pick in return. Good business, if you ask me. Maybe could have been a better return. But as we see the reports coming out from Guregian of MassLive, who always does a great job reporting on the Patriots. I mean, she's an institution here in New England. What she reported was, based on intel gathered from sources during the week, Milton fancied himself a starter. He didn't see himself being given a legitimate chance to compete with Drake Maye. He also believed he was good enough to give Maye a run, if not overtake him for the top job. If that chance didn't exist, Milton preferred being elsewhere, somewhere he had a better chance to compete for the starter's job. Whether we view Joe Milton as a starting quarterback in year 2 of his career after just one NFL game under his belt or not, these are the reports that make sense coming out from Guregian, where when they signed Josh Dobbs, to me, it wrote it on the walls for everyone. You don't give Josh Dobbs, a experienced veteran quarterback that has been in systems similar to what Drake Maye will be running now, played in West Coast offenses, had success as being that guy that steps in, keeps the offense afloat, and executes. You wouldn't, at his age, give him a 2-year deal, also with $3.8 million guaranteed if he wasn't your backup. And then also with Joe Milton, of him going in, performing well, beating the Bills. But as you get at that position, especially guys with the amount of confidence for him, he's looking around and going, if I just won an NFL game, I could do that more. Given it was against the Bills, who started Josh Allen for the first few plays, benched him for Mitchell Trubisky, benched Mitchell Trubisky for their 3rd string quarterback, played their backups. It was basically a preseason game with their game plan and with their players on the field. And that's also why Joe Milton had so much success. But everyone points to that. He did so good. He had the big arm, the athleticism. But Drake Maye's the guy. And the difference between a Joe Milton and a Drake Maye is the processing, the diagnosing of defenses, the ability to be able to watch a route develop and watch a coverage develop and know where that route's going to go, what to do inside the numbers, outside the numbers, deep ball accuracy, audibles at the line of scrimmage. Joe Milton had 6 years in college between Michigan and Tennessee. He never completed more than 65% of his passes in those years. What he showed in his college tape is why he was a 6th round pick. And that's fine if he's still, hey, I could develop. I could be a good backup. It makes sense for me to be behind Drake Maye. I have a big arm. If he goes down, I keep the system afloat. But this seems like when these reports come out, he viewed himself as a starter. That's fine. You want that competitiveness, but there has to be that buy-in from the room. With these reports, Kasey, coming out of, the intel gathered, he fancied himself a starter. He didn't think he had a legitimate chance. What did you think of this now, painting a bigger picture case of why Joe Milton was traded for just, some people say, a 5th round pick to the Cowboys?
I think that we just extend off of what you said. You appreciate the compete, but we have to be realistic, and you have to be extremely realistic when you're in the pretense of a rebuild, which is what this team is doing. So yeah, I think it said a lot considering what his actual role was going to be on this team. But to kind of jump ahead and said that he felt himself to be able to step in and be a starter at some point, you painted the perfect picture. You competed against 2nd and 3rd string guys. That doesn't exactly scream starting position, starting compete, number one. Number two, the inconsistency. In all of his scouting reports leading into the draft, it was, yeah, he's got a big arm, but he's inconsistent. He lacks accuracy. Yeah, he'll go for those big big plays, but his touchdown to interception ratio could end up becoming something super messy at the NFL pace. And they don't have time, they being the Patriots, to have that kind of risk. They're already trying to build out what Drake Maye brings to the table, create that strong foundation. There's more consistency to Drake Maye's game, and then the comparisons as to what he can be and who he can be for this system is more important than a guy who, yeah, you can have a chip on your shoulder, you can have that compete, you can have that confidence, but you have to have that reality, because that just makes you uncoachable if you come in and you don't know when you need to build your game, where you need to adjust your game, and where you can actually compete. So I think it was the right move. We know that this team is being built around Drake Maye. We've seen how excited a lot of guys are. We've heard the responses from Stephon Diggs, but more importantly, you have to have a realistic quarterback being ready to lead a team, and that's Maye over Milton in my book.
Yeah, and it's definitely Drake Maye. And for this of the role, they were figuring out who their backup's going to be. And when Mike Vrabel comes in, everything he preaches is buy into the team, buy into the team. If you think you're a starter and you don't agree with not having a legitimate shot to beat Drake Maye and you think you can beat him, that's not buying into the team.
Right.
The buy-in is Drake Maye, off his sample size he saw from just his rookie season, which wasn't a full 17 games played for him, came in week 6, had success, didn't translate to wins, but executing the offense, and was a reason the Patriots were in games and winning games like they did later in the season as well, or just even to get to overtime like the Titans game. Drake Maye's a starter. It's his processing. It's how he's diagnosing offenses. It's how he was able to grasp Alex Van Pelt's offense. It's also how he was able to play with the worst offensive line, the worst receiving room in the NFL, and working with Austin Hooper and Hunter Henry, who are good tight ends in the NFL, good starting level contributing tight ends. So it's nothing against them. But with those two guys to be your main dudes, to catch your passes, for him to have success at the level, show off his athleticism, use it to his game and to his advantage as well. Drake Maye displayed everything from the small sample size you saw of we can build with that. Yeah. The reads he was making, knowing when a cornerback makes a split decision like he did in the Chicago Bears game, and once the cornerback bites and goes with the route, cutting towards the inside, has a crosser and Austin Hooper down where it would end on the right sideline and fitting that ball into a window only he can fit it. That's what you want in that franchise quarterback. Diagnosing what the cornerback is doing, not looking at your receivers, looking at the defense, and when that decision is made, you put the ball where your guy can get it. That's starting level. The thing with Joe Milton, he had the massive arm, but it was always a question of what's his processing, what's his IQ, what's his decision making, and not being able to fully understand coverages at the college level, but fitting in throws just because he's simply more talented. But you see how that can translate to the NFL side, where that's going to end in incomplete passes, turnovers, and just not moving the offense down the field, which you need in a quarterback. There also was a report from the same article. Milton, being 25 years old, made it clear behind the scenes he no longer wanted to be sitting behind Maye. If he's making it clear he no longer wants it, it's one thing to say I can compete for the job. It's another to say behind the scenes, if it's teammates, if it's assistant coaches, if it's meeting with Mike Vrabel and going, look, man, I'm talented. I don't want to sit behind Drake Maye. I want to compete for the job. That's a coaching staff in the front office getting together and making that decision. He's making that clear. That, again, is why he had to get him out of there. April 7th, the players report for the beginning of offseason workouts. And Mike Vrabel asked about Joe Milton, said, we'll see where Joe is at April 7th. We know what he did, but we're going to see where he is, and we'll go from there. But if before the players get in the building, you think this is a risk when it comes to building a culture, and it's nothing against Joe Milton, but it is, Drake Maye's the guy. You need to have the buy-in from the entire team. Then you need to get Joe Milton out. You find a trade partner in the Cowboys, and you work with that. And that's what Mike Vrabel did. The harsh business of the NFL, the tough decisions you have to make, but that's what makes Mike Vrabel a great head coach. He doesn't let issues fester and become a bigger problem. He nips them in the bud, and by all accounts, did a service to Joe Milton by sending him to the Cowboys. You can go compete there. You could go be the backup and let the Cowboys deal with that. And if anything, in a better situation, better offensive line, CeeDee Lamb, they have another top 12 pick where they could get a Matthew Golden or Ted McMillan. He could be in an existence where he's a better situation overall for a backup quarterback. But when that goes into the ethos, behind the scenes saying, I do not want to be sitting behind Drake Maye, that's where you got to go. We gave Josh Dobbs the money. That's a guy that understands it. Really smart, experienced with these offensive systems, knows how to support a starting quarterback, and knows how to win games if the starter is out, which he's done with the Vikings. He just came from San Francisco, too, where he spent his time as a backup quarterback. He's learning the West Coast offense at the highest level. You pair him with a Thomas Brown, Josh McDaniels, Todd Downing, that's what gives you success. With an Ashton Grant, who came from a West Coast system in Cleveland, that's what gives you success. Last one on the Joe Milton, real quick, Case. What jumped out to me, too, They said they got the Patriots. It was reported the Patriots got better offers, but they did right by him. Albert Breer, very connected in the NFL, reported Cowboys offer was the only offer. So someone is being misled. And I said that when that came out. I think this is the Patriots projecting or trying to sound better to outside free agents, maybe outside prospects, maybe players they trade for. Of, hey, you come in, it doesn't work out, we'll send you to better pastures. But they didn't get any other offers. I don't know why they would lie. It made them look dumb. And this could be someone reaching out to Albert Breer now going, okay, hey, you know how you heard that report? Yeah, that was false. Oh. We only got it from the Cowboys because now all of a sudden they have to save face. But that jumped out of like the whole situation overall. The Cowboys are the only team interested. Jerry Jones has made dumb moves in the past. And a fifth rounder for a guy that was just picked in the sixth round and clearly wouldn't fit. It makes sense now why they moved him now. They needed to move him before April 7th. They needed to move before this upcoming draft where they need all the help right now, Casey.
Yeah, well, I mean, you made a good point to say Cowboys probably the better fit here. And I found it interesting, too, because on Fox, it came out that LeSean McCoy mentioned to Dak Prescott, he might want to start looking into a realtor. So they feel like there can be actual competition with Milton now heading over to the Cowboys roster. But I think the most important thing to illuminate here that you said that just stands out to this entire situation is Milton wasn't ready to be a team player here in New England on the Patriots roster because there's just a level of respect to it. Have that confidence, but you were the sixth round draft pick in comparison to Drake Maye being the third overall pick. You have to know your role and you have to let the compete speak in what you do when you get your opportunity and not just that one opportunity versus the Bills. Anytime you get the tap, preseason is tremendous. How quickly were you digesting the playbook and executing it at the same time? And while they're still trying to figure out their offensive line situation and issues, Milton's release time on the ball is nowhere near Drake Maye's. So there's these minute details between both of these games that vary, that tell you who was actually ready for the starting position. So it's going to be interesting to see how it all plays out because, again, now some sources are saying that he can bring a strong level of compete and confidence to the roster for the Cowboys. He could potentially move out Prescott. The only way I really see that happening is if Prescott's health continues to just be a contingency in everything leading up to the season and throughout the entire season, especially now that Rush is out of the mix there. But it's just the lack of respect. It's fitting the culture of this locker room, and I just love and respect the fact that Mike Vrabel is going to stick to what he said when he got up to that podium and did his press conference. It's relationship, it's connection, it's building a family and a culture, and you got to weed out the guys that aren't going to have that buy-in from the jump. So It's all very consistent across the board, and to do it in a timely manner, to put him somewhere where he can find that success, find that success to what he thinks he deserves, then I think that works all around.
And this is also a Cowboys team that tried to trade for Trade Lance, did not work.
Right.
This is a theory thrown out. Joe Murray of 98.5. He's been on Rush before. And as our producer Athan was telling me about it, he goes, hey, Joe Murray put this out of why he traded to the Cowboys. I go, to get right by Jerry Jones. And he's like, exactly. And that's an awesome thought by Joe Murray to connect those dots. There is a long-standing history between Jerry Jones and Robert Kraft. They don't like each other. Jerry Jones does not like Robert Kraft. Robert Kraft is making his push to get into the Hall of Fame. And Jerry Jones and Robert Kraft reportedly had a iconic, you could say, happening in owner meetings where Jerry Jones basically said to Robert Kraft, in a room full of owners, don't F with me. Like basically saying that verbatim to him. They don't get along. Jerry Jones in Pro Football Hall of Fame. Robert Kraft wanted to get into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Maybe he's one that he hears through the circles Cowboys are interested. He goes, fine, trade him to the Cowboys. Sort of mending that fractured relationship between him and Jerry. This is also on the heels of Robert Kraft announcing Bill Parcells into the Patriots Hall of Fame.
True.
Getting right and mending that relationship with Bill Parcells, who still is a heavy hitter in football circles and is seen as a guy that you respect and is so revered by so many people in different spots of the sport, where again, hey, he's good with Bill. He's good with Jerry. All right, let's vote him and let's get him in. Robert Kraft, about to be 84, wants to get into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. And I understand it, why he wants to get in. And it is politics, when it comes to the politics of getting into the Hall of Fame, that's keeping him out so far with what he's done, saving this franchise from moving to St. Louis, helping out with TV deals and CBA negotiations, leading this franchise and being a key piece on why they got 6 Lombardi trophies. And where he is now, he should be in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. But now he's making those steps. All right, I got to correct these parts. I got to do right by this. That could play into it all, why they did it now as well, where there could be the football reasons, like Mike Vrabel wanting him out before April 7th. And then there are the political reasons, in a way of talking NFL owners, of Robert Kraft wants to get into the Hall of Fame, and he'll do whatever it takes at this point to get in, while he's still around and while he's still leading our NFL franchise.
Yeah, I just keep thinking about like the morbid comment that came out once they decided that it was Bill's time to head into the Hall of Fame for the Patriots. It's just kind of like our time is running out. So we're starting to see Kraft make these mending moves. So at least it's on brand for whatever chapter of his life that he is in right now. And I'd agree. I mean, this is a way to do that, to not ask for too much, to not try to bend a team over backwards, to make something work and happen. Again, it's nothing against Milton and his confidence and what he wants to be in the NFL. The potential is clearly there. And from McCoy to say, like, hey, watch out Prescott, tells you that there's at least a level of, fresh air coming in with Milton joining that roster. So I could see it as kind of an olive branch in the mix of everything.
It's interesting. That's the way I view it. It's interesting with all of it. And same thing, though, like where I've stood with Joe Milton is when he was even taken in the 6th round, I was surprised.
It was so confusing.
I thought he'd be an undrafted free agent because, again, everyone knew when you watch college football and the people that study the prospects, they understand what Joe Milton was. When he was taken in the 6th, in a weak draft where at this point, any player seen taken after midway through the 5th round or even 5th round and beyond that's equivalent to a 7th round pick because it wasn't the deepest draft. When Joe Milton was taken where he was taken, to me that was, okay, it's basically a 7th round pick, basically an undrafted free agent where you don't have to keep him for long. But I was shocked because I understand that he has a talent, but what it takes that separates guys from college to the NFL is the IQ, the processing, understanding NFL offenses. In college, it was, here's the call, go. This is going to be the read. Don't make any changes at the line of scrimmage. Run what I say. In the NFL, you have to make pre-snap decisions, post-snap decisions, all in a matter of milliseconds, and that's what separates the guys that succeed. Joe Milton hasn't done that, and he's 25 years old. Age factors into these things because you are what you are as a football prospect at that point. Dak is a guy that's always in the MVP conversation for a reason. He has his postseason shortcomings. He's dealt with his injuries. He's dealt with tough roster fits as well and coaching changes and all that. But with Joe Milton, that 6th round pick, I was shocked when he was drafted. He's not going to be a starter in the Cowboys. He just isn't. And you would take a fine backup with a 5th round pick as well. Hey, make sure to stream the entire Red Sox season with the NESN 360 annual plan, available at an all-new reduced price of just $20 a month paid annually. And for a limited time, get 4 free tickets to Fenway with your purchase. Visit NESN360.com to sign up today. All right, Case, we'll talk on it quick. Teron Armstead announcing his retirement. 12 years in the NFL, left tackle for the Miami Dolphins, one of the best when he was really good and at the height of his game. I want to talk about this because the Patriots pick 4th. I'm going for the first 3 rounds. Dolphins pick 13th. Patriots pick 38th. Dolphins pick 48th, 10 picks after them. In the 3rd round, the Patriots pick 69th. The Dolphins, right now, how the picks are, they have a 98th overall pick. They drafted Patrick Paul out of Houston last season. He played 3 games at left tackle, started 1 game at right tackle for them. And when he was taken, he was a developmental tackle. It seemed to be the guy to replace Teron Armstead on the left side. Mm-hmm. But if he goes to the left side, they have a need at the right side. And does he project well at the left side in the NFL? We don't know. This is a direct effect on the Patriots because I think 1st round Dolphins end up going safety, maybe cornerback. They go defense. But they are in that range, 2nd, 3rd round, where they can take an offensive tackle. Maybe the Patriots are projecting to take as well. And this has a direct impact on who the Patriots could end up landing in the draft.
Yeah, my concern would be, even though it would be assumed that they would go defense at first, they really could be looking at the fact that they kind of need a maneuver to get a guy on their line because there's so many question marks when it comes to their offense heading into this upcoming season, and the level of protection that they're going to have to solidify and make a priority is beyond crucial. You've got the concussion situation. You don't have proper backup here, so you have to be able to lock things down in front of your quarterback and all of the question marks that they're going to have heading into this upcoming season. So it just makes the priority and the severity of this kind of nerve-wracking. So yeah, even though they pick after the Patriots, I wonder how this is going to end up affecting that 2nd round, because you and I have talked about it. You guys have talked about it a lot here on Foxborough Rush, like where there's going to be some good eggs dropped into that 2nd round that the Patriots can pick up from and continue their build out and make it make sense. But the Dolphins can kind of intertwine with that and mess things up because of how severe now that priority becomes, losing a veteran on that line, not having much of a plan, and probably heading into this draft thinking, okay, we'll do defense, we'll grab these pieces, and then we'll fill in as we go. Now offensive line is going to be 10 times crucial.
Yeah, and it's with the 4th pick, at best the Patriots maybe trade back. They stay top 10. And that can be they take best left left tackle available, maybe a Tyler Warren, Ashton Ginty, right? It's when you get to that second round. If Arante Ursery's there at 38, I will be surprised, but I think the Patriots would not pass up on him. And everything goes, they either go best available in the first and then left tackle, or they go if Hunter, Carter are gone, there's no trade partners, they take the best left tackle at fourth, and then they go wide receiver later. But it's getting into that third round range is what interests me, because that's when an Ozzie Trapillo can get picked, and Anthony Belton can get picked, a Chase Lunt out of UConn. That's where it brings up those conversations. We'll get into those deeper in the mock draft. So, Case, appreciate you coming on, talking some Joe Milton. Always good. We'll give you a break from the mock draft. You don't have to sit through offensive lineman talk with me. Don't worry.
I appreciate you guys. I would do it for y'all, but I'm excited to see how you guys maneuver around this move.
All right, we'll take a quick break. After this, we'll do our mock draft with Athan, our producer Athan, hopping on to do the mock with me. All right, excited for this one. Mock Draft 4.0. Got our producer, Athan, doing this one with me. So Athan produces every episode of Foxborough Rush. Does an awesome job. Knows his ball. Obviously all the time. Sounding boards for one another. Talking football. Talking prospects. Talking mocks as well. Athan, I'm excited to have you on this one, my
Listen,
man.
I'm excited to be here, George. It's always fun being on one side, but it's great getting in front of the camera. Get to talk some draft with you. Offensive linemen. Some changes since the last time we've done a mock draft.
Yep.
Stephon Diggs was not a part of the team the last time we did this. Some changes in Miami. Left tackle Teron Armstead retiring. That could maybe throw a wrench into rounds 2 and 3 for the Pats. Enough has changed. It's time to reset and run it back.
Let's do this. Now, just the one rule. Don't yell at me now. You're on the show the same way you yell at me when you're in my ear.
I might yell you. I can't. No promises about time. That's the one thing I do care about.
All right, talking time. Let's get into it. So we'll start the draft. Travis Hunter 1, Shador 2, Abdul Carter 3. So Abdul Carter and Travis Hunter are gone.
Trade back territory.
Cam Ward is on the board. I kind of like you being open to that trade back. Orlando Brown Jr.
No, thank you.
You get 17, so you get the Bengals' current first, second, and third, and next year's first, along with Orlando Brown.
Can we just take him out of that?
Right, I know.
I don't want his contract. That feels like a contract offload onto us.
Yeah.
And here's all these picks because of that.
Here's one I like. Colts at 14, their second round pick, and Josh Downs, along with next year's first. Now, I understand they just got Stephon Diggs, but he's more short to intermediate. Josh Downs is that speedy slot, good over the middle of the field. And this upgrades the wide receiver room. Look, there's a log jam of slots with this one. Josh Downs was Drake Maye's guy in UNC. So you're reuniting him with some chemistry. I really like Josh Downs. And again, Stephon Diggs off a torn ACL, and that's a year-to-year contract, how it breaks out.
I really like this one.
Okay.
Sans the fact that as a Colts fan, so if you all hate me now, Colts fan here, this isn't going to happen. And there's a piece of me that wants to say no to this because the Colts are not going to trade Josh Downs. Yeah. That's my biggest issue with that. So I like it for the Patriots. It doesn't seem realistic to me.
Right. And that would be a Josh Downs, young receiver. This would be year 3 of him in the league. So it'd be
absolute stud. Love the pick? UNC Connect.
Third round pick, right?
I believe so. Yes, if I'm remembering correctly.
Oh, all right. Thank gosh. I thought I hit accept. You guys are working with me now. This is the best part of the mocks, too. People see how much of a Momo I am. All right. So Vikings are straight up. You're going back to 24. Still in range to get a left tackle. Could be Josh Connerly. Could be Arante Ursery, which I don't love. You get their first, third, then next year's 1, 2, 3.
I like this one. I think
out
of the 3 we've seen so far.
Real quick, Cowboys, 12 and Tyler Smith. No. Okay. Here's my thing. If you're moving back to 24, I need a direct impact player.
So 24 is far. Yeah, I understand that. This is where Ariante Ursery is for me. My hope is that he doesn't get picked by somebody, especially, again, Dolphins conversation that we were just talking about earlier. For me, though, if you can slip to 24 and you can take a tackle here, like an Ariante Ursery, who seems to be getting nothing but praises, is like the build for left tackle at 24, you could sell me on that.
I understand that. Not having that extra second, that's where it gets me. I'd rather have their second this year than next year's. Because essentially you're getting a third and a fourth next year's draft.
You're getting a first, second, and third next year.
Right.
So you're loading up. You're continuing to build. You think about it this way. We go 6, 7, maybe 8 wins at most here in New England. Then you're reloading even further next year to push yourself to 8, 9, 10, 11 wins with a draft class that includes 2 firsts, 2 seconds, 2 thirds.
With the Bengals pick, you're still getting a starting level left tackle. Like if they were in on a Cam Robinson, they would be in on an Orlando Brown Jr. So understand that too.
Okay.
Career left tackle, played right tackle and left his first 3 years in the league. Was good. Just 29 years old, 6'8", 345. You need the help you can get. And for a season where he was in and out of their lineup, a bit banged up, and that team was hurting, throwing the ball a ton, awful defense, allowed just 20 pressures. But again, that was in less than 17 games played. You're in 17, you're teetering in that range of, that's where I could stomach taking a Athan McMillan. You're still in the range, you can maybe get a Tyler Warren. And then you have that extra second. With the 2 seconds, you can trade back into the first if you don't like what you get and you could get a high-end prospect. Or in that second, that's when you go with defensive lineman and wide receiver in that. So I'm thinking, and Nathan, I want to do this for our people. No one wants us to do a mock and trade back and wait till next year's draft. That's my one thing with that Vikings trade back.
So that is
between
fair.
Colts
that is
and
fair.
Bengals.
That is fair. I'm out on the Colts just because it doesn't make sense to me logically for the Colts end of things. If we're gonna go, I can stomach the Bengals. I like the Vikings offer more just because I like to think a little bit longer term. But since we're picking now, doing this year's mock draft, I'll settle with you on the Bengals. I'm not in love with Orlando Brown Jr. I think he'll be serviceable for this next year or two, but I'll settle on Bengals with you.
Orlando Brown Jr., 2 years left on his current contract. Cap hit of $15 million, then $21 million. That might be a trade for him, extend him once he gets in, kick that. They also have the cap space right now to pull this. All right, so let's go Bengals.
We'll settle Bengals. I'll settle Bengals.
It seems more realistic. Who would they Abdul Carter and Travis Hunter are gone. Who would they trade up for?
Well, we'll find out here.
That takes it.
I'm very curious.
That takes the realness out of this for me. But
there is a piece of it that also, like, this team just blew so much money on 2 wide receivers, and they're still working through the Trey Hendrickson thing, that it's like it feels like they need these picks. So this is, again, another one of those that teeters on unrealistic, but I'm not just going to be like, unrealistic. So I'll settle Cincy.
I'd rather do this, and we're going to take Armand Membo at 4 if we stick. All right, accepting the trade. They ended up taking Shamar Stewart. Wow. Okay, they went pure traits on their defensive line.
I can't believe Cam Moore fell to 6 there.
Campbell 11, Banks 12.
Wow.
Jahdae Barron to the Colts. That makes sense. Ginty 16 to the Cardinals.
So we'll reject here. I'm going to stand on this one as producer Athan. I don't think we should be trading back. Especially
McMillan. No.
Oh, yeah. No. So
all right. So there's not a need at left tackle after getting Orlando Brown.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not looking at Ted McMillan. I'm looking at Matthew Golden and Tyler Warren. Matthew Golden is a downfield receiver. Really good route runner, good at deep ball tracking. Ted McMillan is that big contested catch, red zone target. Tyler Warren is that weapon X. I'm more between Ted and Golden here. What are you thinking, Nathan?
So I would lean Warren with you more so than any other receiver, strictly because I think Stephon Diggs makes it so it's not necessary for a first-round wide receiver anymore. I know he is not. This is not Stephon Diggs 2-3 years ago. Stephon Diggs, I get that, coming off of an ACL. I get that.
Yes.
I think that there are, and I hate to spit value and sound like an old Patriots person, but there is still good value in the second and third round at wide receiver, where if you don't go receiver in round 1, you take a tight end in Warren, or we're still in range where if we went Ariante Ursary at 17, I wouldn't be too mad because I understand it and the need that it presents, but we did just take Orlando Brown Jr., so we don't need him.
Yeah.
So I like the idea of tight end. I like Warren and just him over the middle. Like, come on. Mismatch city.
He is a 6'6", 260.
Yep.
Inline tight end, loves to block as well. Was the offense for Penn State. Got them to the playoff. Really smart against zone. It's tough for me to pass up on a Matthew Golden. But you got the left tackle. You got Tyler Warren. Matthew Golden's that good deep ball receiver.
And I will pitch you my receiver in round 2.
You're thinking of Jaden Higgins?
No.
All right.
Somebody we've talked about before, but I don't think you are on board with, but I'll pitch him.
All right, man. You're coming on. You're the best when it comes to producing this show. I'm going to give you a first-round pick. We go Tyler Warren. We're going to draft him here. Don't need that left tackle anymore. Could still get one later on projection. Now, real quick to point out how the board falls, though. Josh Simmons, if there wasn't that Orlando Brown trade, or maybe it goes, they sign Morgan Moses. Josh Simmons, that's a starting left tackle. Wyatt Millam is a guy that'll move inside. Jonas Savanaya out of Arizona, but those are second-round picks. Those are guys that would move inside. Tet, Golden, Burden, Emeka Egbuka, day one contributors at wide receiver. Marion Hampton, you're going Tyler Warren over Marion Hampton, which I see in that too. They need pass catchers. And quick to look at the D-line. All right, Kenneth Grant. Mike Green, that'd be a good pick. Nick Scorton. Jackson, Tuamaloa, they don't fit the scheme. Donovan Ezra-Rockwood, no. So this is trading back, going best available. Tyler Warren, card has been put in.
There we go. Big man over the middle.
Azare Thomas going first round. Let's see who falls. Nicky Manwari just went with the wide receivers going. So we've gone left tackle. Again, in Orlando Brown. Keep reminding yourself of that. Now at pick, Alec Oyomanor just went raw. Ezra-Rockwood, Nicky Manwari, those would have been guys that would have fit for the Pats. So now we're in round 2. I just want to see.
Give me a look
into the Bills.
Give me a look at those wide receivers now, because I believe my guy is still on the board here.
Cool. And keep in mind, we have 2 second-round picks now.
Yes.
We have 38 and then 49, so 11 picks apart. Luther Burden, Emeka Egbuka. If Egbuka is there, I'm going Egbuka. What are you thinking for wide receiver? Let me guess, now that I look at the board, Trey Harris.
Yes. So now he's a little bit further down in the second round, so you don't necessarily, as far as like ranking is concerned, but he's someone that I've been high on for a while. And when everyone was talking Tet McMillan, Jaden Higgins, I was kind of going on the whole Trey Harris wide receiver from Ole Miss train here.
Yeah.
I like his size, big enough, 6'2", 205. He does, obviously not 6'3", 6'4", but that's fine. Not a big deal there. 4'5" speed. So not the fastest in the world, but it's his ability, his route running. He can play at all 3 levels. His game is polished enough that I would feel good with him coming in and challenging guys like Jalen Polk and like Javon Baker, who were drafted last year, who have just not done literally anything to this point. So this is a guy that I like to throw into the mix, and someone who I think exponentially benefits from the fact that he's going to be working in a wide receiver room where he has to compete, but he can also learn from a guy like Stephon Diggs.
And this is a guy that, to me, there wouldn't be the overlap. He lets a Jalen Polk play where he needs to be, because this is a guy 90% or more of his snaps are taken out wide. Right, he doesn't have the burners, but he had a 38-inch plus vertical, I believe. And with his frame, long catch radius, really good hands, needs to refine his route tree, doesn't love run blocking. So that's a part of, if a Josh McDaniels is on board with him, he's also going, you're going to run block, because that's how you get on the field in a Josh McDaniels offense. You say Trey Harris, I get it. And here's the thing to combat it with. Luther Burden, slot. Emeka Egbuka, slot. There are the times where I would eat getting a slot. And it would be, like I saw with the Matthew Golden, who could be more of a slot inside, but is a really good deep ball receiver, as the Josh Downs we discussed, but that doesn't work out. A Trey Harris here would be a fit. Let me see overall prospects, and let me see edge as well. So Jalen Walker's not going to slide. Colston Loveland won't be there either. He's a top 25
we already went tight
pick.
end anyways.
Malachi Starks could be there, yes. Well, Colston Loveland's going to be a receiver at the next level. He's a tight end. He's a tight end in college. He's going to be in the slot, out wide, you roll him everywhere. Tyler Warren would be your inline tight end. Kyle Kernard, that'll be in the 4th. I would take his value there. Let's go interior. Derek Harmon, Tyleik Williams. Tyleik Williams are good for the run defense. Alfred Collins, same thing. Josh Connerly, Jonas Savanaya, Arante Ursary there at 47. So here's the thing too. And let me give you this. Would trading back where we took a tight end, getting a left tackle, and then drafting Arante Ursary be madness? Maybe. Morgan Moses is a 1-year stopgap type guy. Arante Ursary is left tackle, and some pro evaluators say, well, he could play right. We could slide him to the right side. Given that second round pick, this is where you go of an Arante Ursary won't be there if we wait till 49. Trey Harris could be there. If not a Trey Harris, then there's a Jaden Higgins, who, yes, is a slot. There are those big body receivers later in the draft, like a Pat Bryant out of Illinois. I understand your outlook on Trey Harris. I like him as a prospect. But there's also the immediate needs. This offensive line is still putrid. And Morgan Moses is a 1-year answer at right tackle.
So I would be willing to settle Arante Ursary here, because I agree with you. I don't
think if you go wide receiver with this next pick?
Yes, absolutely.
All right.
Since we're sitting on 2 second-round selections here, I'm willing to budge a little bit.
Bang.
Trey Harris is my wide receiver for the second round,
cool.
But if we want to go Ursary here, his athletic profile is just unbelievable. And when you're talking about guys that just look like a left tackle, it's Ursary. And there's nothing but positive things coming out from him right now. He feels like a guy that his stock is only rising, and it's only going to keep rising until the draft day. Yeah. So I'm for Ursary here.
This would be a guy that, and if anything with these 2 seconds, let's say it again, you could take your 38th, and again, they have 2 third-round picks. You could take a 38th and the 77th pick, trade into the first, and get Arante Ursary. So even in the sake of, say, if people are commenting, well, he wouldn't be there, you could also look at this of a move of trading back to 17, taking Warren, trading back into the top 30, getting Ursary. So this 38th pick, no matter what, could turn into an Arante Ursary. All right, so we're going to go Ursary here. I'll respect my compadre here in the war room. Trey Harris still there. Laquan Treadwell. What? Are you... What?
We can just hit reject all.
What?
Laquan Treadwell from... This is my issue with these simulators, is we get things like this.
We got Trent Brown in it all for last month.
They just like... I mean...
That wouldn't work.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's Laquan Treadwell. All right, so Jaden Higgins, Trey Harris,
I liked him
Jalen
coming out of
Noel.
the draft when he came out.
Everyone did, including the Vikings.
That's about where that stops, though. But yeah, I'm all in. This is where I'm going, Trey Harris. If he's still here, if we've addressed offensive line now twice, technically through this draft now with the trade for Orlando Brown, that trade also, the more I sit on it, the more unrealistic it sounds. But now that we've settled on 2 O-linemen in this, I know we are. We're having O-line fun. Travis is going to hate this, but we're 2 O-linemen deep. Both can work at tackle positions. We have a tight end. We've basically beefed up the inside of the offense here. This is where this offense needs help. We've spent all free agency watching defensive players sign. This is where the wide receiver help needs to come in here. And I know you're super big on Jaden Higginson and Jalen Noel. And honestly, I love your Jalen Noel comparison to Tyler Lockett. I could not agree more with that assessment there. Jaden Higgins, for me, and I'm sure some Patriots fans might agree with this, I'm not saying he is exactly this, but just big body, not the fastest guy, N'Keal Harry, for those of you that are maybe still reeling from that. I like what Trey Harris presents as a player. I like the production he's had in Ole Miss. I mean, you look at the numbers that he's had as well, like no less than, 800 yards, or 900 yards, in the last 3 seasons, 10, 8, and 7 touchdowns in those last 3 years combined. Like, he's productive. He can play at all 3 levels. Good in between, not too big, not too small, can still move and find his way through these defenses.
And with the way I look at Trey Harris, pulling up my notes, 6'3", 210, ADP will fluctuate. Day 2 now, could be day 1. Tall, long frame, hands that attack the football. Limited route tree. Can be a dog in the run game, just not inconsistent when it comes to blocking. Accuracy eraser with large catch radius and vacuum hands. And what I like about Trey Harris, again, when you deploy him with an offensive coordinator like a Josh McDaniels and with an accurate quarterback like a Drake Maye, but with the big catch radius, his route running may need development, but this is a guy that will truly line up out wide. And from day 1, he'll be a contributor in the red zone and on third down and on 50-50 balls where he understands leverage. He understands how to play it like a basketball player. And he can be that big body receiver where, all right, you don't have to run the tightest route, but run where you need to be. Turn around, Drake can have the ball. You got to beat that mother effer on the outside in the corner. So Absolutely. Let's go Trey Harris here. I do like this. I'm so high on Jalen Noel. I'm so high on Jaden Higgins, but those guys are slots. Jalen Royals, like him, too raw. He's a Dontavian Wicks to me, and I just need day 1 contributors.
Absolutely.
I need starters. I don't need Pro Bowlers right now, but I need guys that are going to contribute day 1 and develop into a starter year 2, year 3. That could be a Trey Harris.
Absolutely.
Good draft so far. So tight end, who's also just a weapon, Arante Ursary. So swing tackle could play right tackle this year, and then you get a Trey Harris. All right, pick 69. Still on the wide receivers. Let's go all see that. Bengals? No. They'll give us next year's 2nd and 4th. No.
No, we're rejecting all here.
Yeah,
we're settled where we are.
We traded back. We're going to pick now. Jalen Noel is still there, but this is a team that still needs help outside on the edge.
Yes, absolutely.
Ashton Gelati.
Oh, you already know how I feel about him.
He projects inside for me.
I know. But hear me out though. Projects inside, but have him drop maybe 10-ish or so pounds. Yeah. Maybe makes him a little bit more athletic. Maybe you can push him as a bigger guy on the edge if need be. Or you go the other route. Maybe we have him eat a few extra cheeseburgers, add an extra 5 to 10 pounds, and we're working with him on the interior. He's such an athletic. I'm a big traits guy, physical traits guy.
And that's what
traits is like my thing. Where
there's a marriage of drafting for traits
absolutely.
And then going to your coaches
and my reasoning for him here, if we were to do this. You have a guy like him with all the physical attributes in the world, and you have a coaching staff where your head coach is the defensive guy. Terrell Williams was handpicked by him because he's a guy he's worked with.
Right, you're giving the best defensive line coach.
you're supposed to be bringing in all these guys that you trust and believe in. This is a guy that needs the coaching to help him develop and reach what his peak potential could be. He's got all the physical numbers are off the charts. It's all about teaching him what he needs to know at that next level. You can't teach the physical attributes, but if you believe in this coaching staff the way you do, and this is even like my thought process for Trey Harris too. You have Josh McDaniels in that offense over there. He should be able to take a Trey Harris who maybe needs to work on his route running, and he should be able to coach him up and get him to the level he needs to be. That's kind of where I'm at with Gelati here. I love that he's sitting here in this 3rd round pick.
Yeah, and he's a guy that's also been bulking up since he finished with Louisville. He was playing around 275. He's now up. I think he's gained 10, 15 pounds. So he's in the 290 range even. And this is a guy that can play on the edge. Again, can get pushed inside. And if you're going to be an interior wrecker or you have that scheme versatility, someone like Terrell Williams will covet him. And that's someone that gets their hands. All right, you bulked up. Hey, maybe slim back down. Let's get you to a good weight, but you can still be that wide 9 edge rusher.
There's also
the tough part is he is the tweener.
Yes.
Savion Jones out of LSU, I'd take. Kaimon Rucker doesn't fit this scheme.
So
yeah,
the other thought process I have too, when you think like value with Gelati, there is the unknown surrounding Barmore right now. Yes.
Yep.
He's supposed to be playing. He's supposed to be there. It sounds like he's going to be a participant in everything. He's
been
around, but in the back of your mind, what is your backup plan? What is your thought beyond if the worst case scenario does arise again? Again, I'm just thinking we're at all angles here.
Yeah,
that's kind of where I look at that with him. Yes, he's a tweener, but he's a guy that you can work with in a number of different ways, and he can be a backup plan or your first plan if need be, depending on kind of how things shake out with Barmore's situation too.
Yeah, and this is a guy that was also very technically refined coming into just playing in his few years at Louisville. It's again I get on the tweener. But with the Terrell Williams and you pair him up with the defense, and when you go Warren, Ursery, Trey Harris, because I'm either edge, I'm going beef up the D-line, or I look at, okay.
Who is like your gotta have him edge right now? And with the guys that are on this board right now, if you had to...
So my gotta have it guy, hold on, I don't want to break this laptop. Stuck on edge. Give me D-line. Give me all. Cool. We'll do that.
You're not allowed to look at the D-line, George. Who's your edge rusher? That was the question.
It would be, so if you talk in the idea of what about Christian Barmore?
Yep.
It's Darius Alexander. And I think that's more of a game wrecker. You know what you're going to get. Let me see edge really quick, though, because of a guy I talked about, he had to have been picked. Yeah. My guy out of South Carolina was definitely drafted.
So if we need something that could potentially address one or the other, because we came into this talking edge.
Yep.
Your guy's D-tackle. My guy can be a tweener, one or the other.
Kyle Kennard, he went round.
Let's just settle on Gelati here because he can be either edge or D-tackle depending on what we need. And it sounds like he could be leaning towards D-tackle.
I'm leaning. You get him in wherever he fits, and it sounds like Barmore being around the team, like
all good scary stuff.
Players have returned from it.
Absolutely.
We'll go Ashton Gelati here. We'll get a guy that's technical and can develop you. Put him around coaches. If he's already technically refined, he could be a guy. He could be like a next Harold Landry in a way too, and maybe have him slim back down. So we'll go Gelati. I'm gonna look secondary now. Makuba is gonna be gone by picks. Well, actually, no. Reject all.
Reject. The clock is ticking on us here.
I'm going Andrew Makuba. I'm going with the bona fide free safety, what they need. It's a guy that allows your 2 cornerbacks that you have now, and I think they still go out and draft a corner later. But Makuba from this Texas defense, which is very complex, yes, playing with a really good defensive line in front of him, but he was doing so much for that team in Austin that, again, was so successful. If we're going value and we're going with the marriage of need because they don't have a free safety, like Marcus Epps is your vet, I'm going him here, and I'm going him over the receivers on the board. I'm even going over he's the best. I'm going Andrew Makuba.
Yeah, I'm for it.
I love Makuba's game.
I'm also I'm somewhat partial to Texas, so you want to give me a Texas guy? Yeah.
So next pick, all right away in 81, and that's what we get with getting that extra third for a team that had 2 thirds coming into it. Got that extra third, which was in the trade back, of course, while getting a left tackle. So what a trade that was. Oh, sorry. Cool. So this is where we could have fun. Looking at the wide receivers, Isaiah Bond, Tez Johnson, Chimere, DK.
I know we just went a Texas guy, but Isaiah Bond in the 3rd round at this point in the draft would be nuts. But if you're doing that, you're in the stage of we're killing off last year's draft wide receivers. I don't think you go Stephon Diggs and drafting 2 wide receivers without admitting that you think that there is nothing that you can make up with Jalen Polk and with Javon Baker and those guys. So do we think that the Patriots are going to actually do that?
No. I also think we just got Ashton Gelati. Darius Alexander's there.
Yeah. Because now we're going DN, D tackle.
He's a D tackle. He could fit in this.
Someone needs to call Gelati right now and tell him to go start back to slimming down again if he's
and that's fine.
Weight.
And it's also with the
just kidding. Other way,
you just drafted an edge rusher. It's about depth.
Yeah,
having guys,
absolutely,
having like just absolute units of humans, but also units of defensive linemen, where you cycle in a Darius Alexander to give Milton Williams a breath, to give a Christian Barmore a breath, and that's how your defensive line gets after it. You go edge, free safety, interior pass rush, after you've added a Carlton Davis opposite of Christian Gonzalez, Harold Landry. Yeah, I'm going Darius Alexander.
Yeah, let's do it.
I'm going Darius Alexander. Let me not walk back on my... Now here's a nice long wait. So all those picks in between, it's a fun draft. I really like the board we're walking away with.
My goal coming in here was to strong arm you into guys that I've wanted that I haven't seen.
Hey, shoot your shot, make it count.
But this is a really good group of guys. The way I'm looking at this draft right now, like we were talking about earlier, you've shored up from the inside to the outside on the offense a bit with a legitimate starting left tackle. Even if I'm not the biggest Orlando Brown Jr. guy, you're good there. Tyler Warren, Ariante Ursary, like you're solving all those things, and then on top of that, like. You can't go wrong with some of these defensive guys. Again, traits or just like people you're sold on, like Darius Alexander. This is. I don't know how you're walking away from this upset as a Patriots fan. Yeah. This is where I ask you: do we look at a running back? No, because I was just looking at the backs. So that you were reading my mind a little. Lakeem Allen, Baishal Tootin is just explosive. There's RJ Harvey later. I'm gonna go no because again, let's build out the receiving room with the Xavier Restrepo. Yes, a slot. But this is a guy that will simply eat in a Josh McDaniels offense. And we can love what we're hearing from Jalen Polk. We can like what we've seen from Pop Douglas. Yes, there's Stephon Diggs. But this is also a long-term solution at the slot position and with a value pick here. Yeah, I'm going Restrepo. He's Julian Edelman. I like Chimere Dike, but I think Restrepo is just stronger, better with physical play in an NFL secondary that he will face. So a little bit of a wait. Now we'll get into the fifth. Now I would be willing to look A, offensive lineman, but also B, running back at this point. And it could be interior line as well, too. Don't sleep on what centers could be on the board because there's still that need, guard play, and at the center spot as well. Holland Pierce is a Haas. This is where I would not be opposed to a running back if Booton's there.
Logan Brown, tackle. Seth McLaughlin, injured. Chase Lunt, very athletic tackle. Jonah Monheim, very versatile. Connor Colby, if you don't go now, all those guys will be gone. So the one that grabs my eye is a Chase Lunt. Undersized wingspan, really athletic, good in his zone scheme. But if we were to go, say, running back, Lakeem Allen, good pass catching back.
Yeah, I was going to say, so is RJ Harvey. Bashal Tootin. You don't want to have fun with a back like him and his athletic profile?
Jadon Blue's a home run hitting running back. More than pass catching on the ground.
All right, I am a Texas guy now, so you don't have to twist my arm too much on that one. I would be fine with either or. Tootin.
I'm just going all.
Oh, sorry. I was like, wait a minute. What, did someone just draft him? Okay. Yeah, I mean, I'd be good with the Blue or Tootin, to be honest with you. Either or. If we wanted to go running back. If you want to go interior on the O-line, that's fine too. Clock is ticking, so we do have to make a pick here, though.
Baishal Tootin could fit in like a James White type role.
That's kind of where my head is at with him.
Yeah. Jadon Blue's a home run hitter. Let's go Tootin, freak tester. Everything he did blew everyone away with the numbers.
This is where I'm already a traits guy, and the further down we get into the draft, I'm just like traits. These are the guys that need to be coached. If your coaching staff is as good as you believe, and you're paying them the money to be as good as you believe, these are the guys where you're bringing them in, and you need to coach them up.
Now I'm going to look offensive line.
Absolutely.
Because especially Connor Colby at Iowa, if he falls, I'm taking him. Nope, gone. The guy, he's played everywhere. For 2-2, 10-yard split, a 1.49. That is 94th percentile of testers for the running back position. Good pass catching, really massive broad, I think 130 inches, so explosive. And again, if he fits in the scheme like that, that's what you take. 3 seventh-round picks left. Went with a running back. We went with wide receivers. Let's see secondary. Jordan Hancock, always like guys out of the Ohio State secondary as the safety spot.
Bring me back to O-lineman. We need an O-lineman here.
Go with the depth pick. Hayden Conner. Out
Hayden
of Texas.
Conner is, yep.
He's a good pass protecting
Yep.
offensive lineman. I'm going to go Hayden Conner right away.
There's another couple guys later in the draft in like round 7. Goodbye,
Reject
Bengals.
all.
We already took your offensive
Sorry,
tackle.
not scrolling. So we went with interior on that pick. Donovan Edwards, complimentary back to what a Tootin can be, but again, kind of similar with their overall usage. Don't like the tight ends left. Let's see edge again. Stone Handy, all-time name. And then off-ball linebacker could be seen. Oh, Cam Horsley. Let's go Cam Horsley out of BC. He could fit this scheme.
All right.
Again, that's building depth. There's a familiarity there, too. Need an off-ball linebacker. 1 pick left.
Off-ball linebacker.
But again, with Jack Gibbons, like they're fine there in the youth department.
Yeah.
Dante Trader, not bad. Jabbar Muhammad's an okay corner. These guys are 7th round picks for a reason. Let's go receiver one more time. Tight end. Brandon Cutie.
Let me see the O-line one more time.
Yep. Jalen Travis, Drew Kendall. All right,
you know what?
We're going crazy with the BC picks, but this also makes sense. And I think in the reality of it, like this is where he's going to be picked, and he's more realistic to end up with the Patriots and an Ozzie Chapelle.
Well, I think after the complete Patriots show out that we saw at the BC Pro Day, something along this lines of, I wouldn't be shocked if we see a BC guy or two end up in New England. So if this is one of those boxes we're going to check,
yep,
you got me.
Shot the shot. So Drew Kendall. So the draft went Tyler Warren, trading back to 17, getting Orlando Brown, and an extra 2nd and a 3rd. Close this. Tyler Warren, Erante Ursary, Trey Harris, Ashton Gelati, Andrew Makuba, Darius Alexander, Xavier Restrepo, Baishal Tootin, Hayden Conner, Cam Horsley, Drew Kendall. That's a damn good draft.
Yeah, not bad at all. A lot of needs hit, a lot of picks made here, and this talk about filling out the roster and the rest of the holes you have.
A lot of best available taken as well. Athan, man, good having you on this mock, my man.
Oh, pleasure to be on, man, always.
He's Athan Hristodulu. I'm George Balekji. This was Foxborough Rush. Appreciate you guys. Leave a comment on our YouTube page. As always, we bring you guys in the chat. We'll have a mailbag later this week. Let us know what you think of the mock, what picks you love, what picks you want to redo, and overall, what do you think of Athan's assistant GMing as well? He's Athan. I'm George. It's Foxborough Rush. We'll see you guys with a new episode on Wednesday.